All right, folks, time to talk about the race for Randy Nagebauer's job in Congress with House District 19 candidate Jody Arrington. First off, thank you so much for making time to join us here today.
I'm glad to be here, Jason. Thanks for having me.
Well, we're glad to have you. Walk us through this. You're a former Bush advisor, Texas Tech Vice Chancellor, now the president of Scott Laboratories, is that right?
That's correct.
Walk me through that last bit. What is your current role exactly?
So Scott Laboratories is the holding company for Grace Health System. You got Grace Clinic, you got the hospital, and one of my main focus there is this new telehealth initiative where we're trying to bring access to specialty doctors in rural West Texas. That's one aspect of telemedicine. The other is we're trying to bend the cost curve. I mean, healthcare is the biggest cost. It's become almost a third of the cost of our state budget. And some of that is wrapped up in overutilizing healthcare resources. So one of the aspects of telemedicine is working to provide care, manage care for the sickest population around the state, and monitor and manage that care from their home so that they don't have to go to the emergency room unnecessarily.
Very cool. So that's quite a spectrum there, you know, going from a presidential advisor, now you're a president of a company here. How does a congressional run fit into all of that?
I think it fits in perfectly, actually. I mean, I've been blessed. I've had a great experience, a breadth of experiences from being in an ag community and an ag family growing up in Plainview, to being vice chancellor and at a major national research university, and now being in healthcare. I just mentioned three of the drivers of this economy. So to understand the unique aspects of those sectors of this economy, to understand the unique challenges and opportunities, I think are absolutely critical for the person who's going to represent District 19. On top of that, I think being able to operate in that very dysfunctional environment of Washington, and not just operate, but deliver results that are going to make our country stronger and going to ensure that the future of West Texas is on the right path of growth and prosperity.
So you're getting into it already, but I want to ask you, you know, no Democratic candidates in this race, which is good and bad, because good, obviously no one against you there, but bad because you really have to differentiate yourself in your own party here. What does separate you from the other Republican candidates in this race?
I think it's two things. I think it's the breadth of experience of, again, agriculture, higher ed, and healthcare, and not just being in those, but being in a leadership role, whether it's vice chancellor or president of a healthcare company. I think the most important question for the voters is not just are these candidates conservative and what are their conservative values, because I think you're going to find that the messaging and the policy positions will be very similar. The question is, who's going to be able to convert those conservative values to conservative results? And I think what there is no other candidate in this race who's been to Washington, D.C. I worked with a Republican president, a West Texan, fellow West Texan, and George W. Bush. And while I was there, I actually converted those values and principles to cutting budgets of federal agencies, reducing regulatory burden for small businesses, and helping pass legislation that strengthen community banks, which are a big part of our local and regional economy.
That was going to be my next question, was what you took from that. So let me ask the follow-up there. Brian asks every candidate we have on here, you know, I read that you went to Plainview High School, is that right?
That's correct.
And then you're a Tech grad, also worked at Tech, living here in Lubbock area?
That's correct.
Perfect for this area, but this seat represents a lot more than just the Lubbock area and Plainview as well. So what are you going to do to make sure that those folks also know about you and what you represent?
I think it's imperative that the person representing District 19 understands rural West Texas, not just Lubbock or Abilene, but the 27 other counties that make up 40% of the vote. But they don't just make up 40% of the vote. I mean, this is just the principle of you represent the interests of the people you serve. And in America today, I'd say that rural communities do not have a voice. I'd say agriculture has very few champions. And we need to add to the warriors for farmers and agriculture, like Mike Conaway, who is a fellow West Texan and is currently the chairman of the House Ag Committee. So I think I've already invested a lot of time, and I've made agriculture, the ag industry, and rural West Texas a priority for me as a candidate. And it's personal for me. I mean, I grew up, like you said, I went to Plainview High School. Go Bulldogs, right? I'm a West Texan. I'm a rural West Texan. And I'm a product of a dad that sold tractors for a living for over 40 years. So I'm excited about the prospect to put on the West Texas jersey and fight for the future of our country and for my 3 children, but also to fight for the farmer because, again, they're not thinking about us in Washington. And I want to tell that story because it's a great story. It's a great story of not just 24 million jobs for our country. It's about the food and fiber independence that contributes to our national security. So,
well, I can hear the passion in your answer there. Last question here. What's the best way people can get some information about you if they're interested?
Well, they can go on our website at jodyarrington.com.
And thanks again to Jody Arrington for coming in.